There are 3 questions I keep getting sent about how to perform a dynamic effort upper body day for strongman competitors. And I'm gonna answer all 3 of those for you right now. We're gonna go over choosing the implement you're pressing with. We're gonna go over to push press or not to push press. And the big one, do I clean the weight or do I take it out of the rack? So number 1, what implement do I use? Now I'm gonna assume you don't have a contest coming up, because if you have a contest coming up and you're gonna compete with a log or an axle or a Viking press, or you're gonna press a yoke, then you should know to use that. So if you've got a contest coming up and there's an implement you're gonna be pressing, use that. If you do not have a contest coming up, you're gonna choose between your log and your axle. Whichever one is weaker is the one you're gonna focus on. And if they're the same or roughly the same, then you're gonna choose to use a log. And the reason you're gonna do that is because it's the most common pressing implement in strongman. So extra time with it is never gonna hurt you. Number 2, do I push press or do I strict press on my dynamic effort work? Because you do not do anything else. You don't push jerk, you don't split jerk, you don't do anything crazy. You're either strict pressing or push pressing. And you're gonna make that decision based on how strong and explosive your leg drive is. If your shoulders are behind the amount of leg drive you get when you do a push press, then you're just gonna strict press. So if your shoulders are a big limiting factor, you're strict pressing on your dynamic effort work. If things are relatively even, or if your leg drive is lacking for you, then you're going to push press. So if shoulders are the biggest weakness, strict press only. If things are even, or your legs and explosive drive are a weak link, then you're gonna push press. No other types of pressing. Even if you push jerk or split jerk in a contest, the dynamic effort work is strict or push press, nothing else. And last question, do you clean the implement? Which is a great question. So one of the people who sent this in is a masters competitor at a very high level. He was like, I'm gonna do axle on my dynamic effort day. Do I clean it? I was like, that's a good question. So what I asked him is what are your max weights for your press and your clean? And so he told me that his clean was about 30 pounds behind his press. So he could take an axle out of the rack and hit 305, but he struggles cleaning 275 or above. So for him, my advice was to clean the first rep of all of your dynamic effort work. If there was a bigger gap between the press and the clean, if the clean was lower, I'd probably have him cleaning 2 of 3 reps, maybe the first and the third, or I'd have him cleaning all 3 of them on his dynamic effort work. And if they were much closer, I might have him just take it out of the rack. And if his press was what was holding him back, then I would absolutely have him taking it out of the rack. So the answers for all of these kind of come down to the core of conjugate. You have to look at your particular weaknesses. What's holding you back from making more progress? For me, I need to strict press my dynamic effort work because my legs are explosive as hell and my shoulders are not on that same level. For you, it could be different. That doesn't mean I'm right or you're right or one of us is wrong with the push press versus strict, with choosing the implement, with cleans versus not cleans. All of them have to come down to your particular strengths and weaknesses in the moment. And as those change over time, your answers can change as well. But if you have other questions about conjugate and strongman, drop them below and you just might see them in a video like this.